Global Gridlock Report, BRICS Bank offers Zimbabwe escape from IMF debt traps, says Professor. The BRICS New Development Bank, NDB, has emerged as a promising alternative for Zimbabwe to escape the financial stranglehold of IMF and World Bank debt traps, according to a recent analysis by a prominent professor. As Zimbabwe faces ongoing economic struggles exacerbated by external debt obligations, the NDB offers a potential path toward economic sovereignty and financial recovery. Before we proceed, please like, comment, and subscribe to help us with the YouTube algorithm. Zimbabwe, a nation with a history of hyperinflation and economic instability, has long grappled with heavy borrowing from international financial institutions such as the International Monetary Fund, IMF. The IMF's structural adjustment programs have often demanded austerity measures, leading to cuts in essential services and deepening poverty within the country. In this context, the BRICS Bank presents a way out of these rigid debt cycles by providing financing without the same level of conditionality imposed by Western lenders. The NDB, formed by Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, aims to offer developing nations an alternative to the IMF and World Bank. With its emphasis on infrastructure development and more favorable lending terms, the BRICS Bank seeks to empower countries like Zimbabwe to pursue independent economic policies. Analysts suggest that this shift could help Zimbabwe reduce its dependency on Western institutions and chart a more stable path toward growth. The professor emphasized that Zimbabwe's economic challenges stem partly from historical reliance on Western institutions, which have enforced stringent conditions for financial support. These conditions often include budget cuts, currency devaluations, and reduced government spending, which have led to social and economic hardships for ordinary citizens. The NDB's loans, by contrast, allow recipient countries greater flexibility to address their unique development needs without compromising social welfare. Zimbabwe's growing alignment with the BRICS bloc reflects a broader trend among developing countries seeking alternatives to the Western-dominated financial system. In recent years, nations across Africa, Asia, and Latin America have expressed frustration with the IMF's perceived bias toward the interests of richer countries. The BRICS Bank offers an appealing alternative by prioritizing investments in critical sectors such as infrastructure, energy, and agriculture, areas vital to Zimbabwe's long-term economic recovery. Political analysts note that Zimbabwe's pivot toward the NDB also has geopolitical implications. As the global economic landscape shifts, emerging powers like China and Russia are increasing their influence by supporting nations marginalized by the West. For Zimbabwe, this realignment represents more than just economic strategy. It signals a broader shift toward a multipolar world order, where countries can pursue their interests outside the traditional Western framework. However, some critics argue that the BRICS Bank might not be a complete solution. While the NDB offers loans with fewer strings attached, there are still concerns about debt sustainability. Zimbabwe will need to ensure that it manages its borrowing prudently to avoid falling into a new type of dependency. The country's ability to negotiate favorable terms and invest wisely in productive sectors will determine whether this new partnership leads to lasting economic stability. Supporters of Zimbabwe's move see the NDB as an opportunity to rebuild the economy by focusing on projects that directly benefit the population. Access to affordable financing could help the country address its pressing infrastructure deficits, improve public services, and foster sustainable development. With better roads, reliable energy, and agricultural support, Zimbabwe could begin to unlock its economic potential and reduce unemployment and poverty. Moreover, the shift toward BRICS financing aligns with Zimbabwe's broader foreign policy goals of diversifying its economic partnerships. The government has actively sought closer ties with countries like China and Russia, which have been more willing to invest in the country despite Western sanctions. The NDB provides a financial backbone to these partnerships, allowing Zimbabwe to further reduce its dependence on Western financial systems. This development has also sparked discussions about the future role of global financial institutions. As more countries explore alternatives to the IMF and World Bank, the relevance of these institutions may diminish, potentially reshaping the global economic order. Zimbabwe's engagement with the BRICS Bank exemplifies how developing nations are reasserting control over their economic destinies, challenging the dominance of Western financial frameworks. In the coming years, the success or failure of Zimbabwe's relationship with the NDB will likely serve as a case study for other nations facing similar debt challenges. If Zimbabwe can leverage BRICS financing to achieve sustainable growth and financial independence, it may inspire other countries to follow suit, further accelerating the shift toward a new global financial paradigm. The world will be watching closely as Zimbabwe navigates this pivotal moment, with hopes that the BRICS bank support will offer a genuine alternative to the debt traps of the past. For now, the partnership represents a bold step toward reclaiming economic sovereignty in a rapidly changing geopolitical landscape.